What's up, Powur Hitters, Solar Warrior Tribe? Today is Tuesday, July 25th, 2023. My name is Jarrett McAllister, the virtual solar pro, alongside my co-host, Jonathan Brunasso. What's up, Jonathan? How are you doing, brother?
How's it going, Jarrett? Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Pumped to be here. We got an epic training today, some awesome announcements, and we're in the midst of summer with insane heat. Now's the time to rock and roll. And I know you've been gone for a little bit, Jarrett. I know Tom Cotters is in Europe right now. So big welcome to all teams, everyone with power, anyone in the solar industry. But Jared, I know you were out for a few weeks and couldn't make Mentor Factory, unfortunately, because life hit you.
Yeah, man, life happens, right? Sometimes. So as some of you guys know, yeah, I was out a couple weeks ago because my wife and I went out to Puerto Vallarta, and it was amazing. Our in-laws came up right before 4th of July. They were gracious enough to watch our kids. So it was our first vacation, no kids. We went with another couple. It was beautiful. We were at the West End sipping coconut drinks in the pool with iguanas swimming next to us. Absolutely incredible. But I just want to take a minute to talk about what happened when we got back, because I feel it's a public service announcement that needs to happen, and that we have a little bit of an audience here for those that are live on the call and those that are watching the recording. When we came back that night, my mother-in-law, who was watching the kids, was extremely ill, vomiting, diarrhea, couldn't hold anything down. We thought it was food poisoning. That's what it seemed like, the symptoms. Come to find, next morning she was even worse, and that's when we took action, called the paramedics, got her into the hospital. After hooking her up to fluids, running tests, things like that, they came to find out it was a UTI that wasn't addressed early on and caused her to go septic. Her kidneys shut down. She had a blood infection. Her entire body was inflamed, and she was hospitalized. She's still in the hospital. For the first 5-6 days post that, she couldn't really talk. She wasn't conscious. She had to go on dialysis. It was probably one of the scariest moments in my family's life. My poor wife, this is her mom. Her brother and sister had to fly up next day, and we thought we were going to lose her. I mean, it came really close. She's 64 years old, just retired 2 weeks before that. And I'll say this. The good news is this. She has since made a comeback. She is talking. She's no longer on dialysis. Her kidneys has recovered. Thank God to these, wonderful doctors up here at Kootenai Health. But she has a long road of recovery to go. She's actually she's going to be living in a rehab and trying to gain her strength back. And thanks to everybody who prayed. Thank you to the doctors. Thank you for the team and having my back and the support. But I just want to say this, and I've never even thought about this, but as a father of 3 daughters and a wife, UTIs are no joke. They really aren't. If you have a spouse or a daughter or someone that has a UTI, and apparently women, they know when they start to get one, take action. Treat it ASAP. Do not wait around. It is no joke. You can end up with kidney failure and end up in this horrible situation. So I just wanted to say that out there, because I don't know if that awareness is out there. I've talked to some people, and surprisingly, I've talked to a lot of people, and they said, same thing happened to my mom. I actually know someone they lost their friend to a UTI. I was not aware of this. So I just wanted to take this opportunity on this platform to get the word out for UTI awareness, because it's something extremely scary. But good news is she's doing a lot better. Things are on the up and up. She is on the mend. And yeah, thanks for giving me the opportunity to just share that with you guys.
Hey, Jarrett, in the elderly, neurologic symptoms are often the first thing that you see that's an indicator that they have a UTI. So that's always on the list to check.
Yeah, her neurological, I mean, when she came out of it and started recovering, she was hallucinating, and seeing things that weren't there, and it's clearing up now because of the bacteria infection, all that stuff. But yeah, it's very scary. So just anybody out there, a woman in your life, address it, be aware of it. So
Thank you for sharing, Jarrett. Appreciate that, and glad to hear she's doing better. We missed you at Mentor Factory, but obviously being with your family trumps everything. So yeah, appreciate
for
that.
sure, for sure, man.
Now at Mentor Factory, we'll go ahead and share a few success stories here. Mentor Factory, and if you want to raise your hand, those that attended Mentor Factory, we want to do a few success stories and shares from Mentor Factory. So JC Rangel throws an amazing event every year. This was the 3rd annual Mentor Factory in Downey here with JC, and he had 2 keynote speakers, Mario Arzon. This guy makes $1 million a month in financial services and team building. Danny Pesci, industry leader, training. We had a panel. All of these panelists are top recruiters, top builders, many of them on their way to earning $1 million with Powur probably this year. Cynthia Jordan, Luis Perez, Chris Brunasso, Zachary Bach. So it was truly an amazing event. And let's go ahead and hear from a few people that attended their share or their success story. Let's start with John Bobness.
Wow, thank you. I get the lead in. Hi, guys. Yeah, Mentor Factory was crazy. Really, really good. Got to spend time with people I've only seen on Zoom, usually, like my man Ramsey. What a cool spirit and great energy that guy has. Got to hug Bill Connolly again. So every time I see him, I give him a big hug because he's a sweetheart. And the training was great. I mean, just great stuff. Really inspirational as usual. Danny Pesci brought some fire, really great objection handling things. And just being able to spend time with great guys like you and your brother. And, JC Rangel's obviously busy doing, all the stuff JC Rangel's doing for the event. But, just having John Brunasso hanging out in the background where you can kind of hang out and talk to him. And yeah, it's definitely a must attend event for everybody. I think if you got a year now to plan on being at the next one. I really think you'll get your money's worth the first couple hours that you're there, and it's a 2 full day event. So that's I don't really have one specific takeaway. I have a couple pages of notes. We can do a whole training on all the stuff that was there, but it was beautiful. Really glad to be there. Really glad to see you. And yeah, just glad to be around the team.
Awesome, John. Yeah, I appreciate it. It was super cool to hang out with you and see everyone, and your participation was probably the best in the room. So awesome. Awesome. Let's go ahead and go to Mark Chapman.
Hey, morning, guys. So I shared this with a couple people when I was there at Mentor Factory. Mario, unfreaking believable. Didn't really even talk much about solar. So he wanted to touch one life. He touched mine. My mom passed away in 2020 of COVID. Me and my daughter haven't talked since. After he got up there and spoke. He moved me to go make a video, and I sent it to my daughter to start to repair this relationship after 3 years. Should have been done a long time ago.
Wow.
So huge. I was being blocked from the sunlight of the spirit. It was on my mind 24/7. And what a huge brick to get off of my back. I cleaned my side of the street, which is what we're supposed to do. And now hopefully I start flourishing, even though I have since I've been in here. Really, Powur has changed my life. I got here in January, and I am not the same guy from 6 months ago just because of Powur. So there you go.
I love that, Mark. Decluttering the personal life, working on ourselves, happy, healthy, wealthy challenge, coming to events. Yeah, we thought we're going to come here and make money. And when we do the inner work, I think that lets us be successful and flourish and attract others. So can't agree with you more. Beautiful. I got goosebumps from your share. So keep us posted. Tracy Canoni, it was awesome seeing you and meeting you there.
Thank you, Mark. Yes, that was a very touching story. And I want to thank everyone. This was brand new to solar, brand new to power, brand new to sales. So this was definitely a must kind of go-to event. Definitely, it was life-changing for me. I just took away so much. Like I said, like John Bomna said, I have so many notes that I've took away. It was great to meet everybody. Larry was really inspirational. Loved hanging out with you. You too, Jonathan. I mean, everyone was just so kind and open and willing to chat with me. So I just took everything away. Mario was amazing, amazing speaker. I was trying to hold back the tears as well. It was very touching. Other big one was Zachary. That was my biggest downfall is scheduling, because I have such a hectic, busy life, being a mom, homeschool my kids, and just trying to really schedule that. So he really gave me a perspective, and I spoke with him afterwards, which was very great. Just kind of help me zone in on what I need to do and focus in, and really help me build this career as a power solar rep. So I'm very grateful for everyone. Anyone who bought a ticket that didn't attend, they totally missed out. But it was great that everyone who did go, it was great.
Awesome. Thank you, Tracy, for sharing and flying out to make it down to the Mentor Factory. And we'll do Sean and then the Bill and Bill. If you have any other shares or success stories, go ahead and type them in the chat as well. But Sean, it was your second time. And I know the first time you brought your baby, this time you didn't. So I was kind of bummed out, but what do you...
Yeah, actually, I was only able to make the first day due to the parent duties that we have as parents, but it was profound. I got to be there the first day, which was with Mario, of course. I think it impacted all of us the same way. He didn't talk about solar, I don't think even once. It was all just more about, inner work and how to fight those inner demons that we all have inside of us, to just keep pushing forward, to keep working hard, to know that we're doing what we're supposed to be and that we're doing what we want to be doing, helping people, doing the right thing. And I'll touch on the one story that really touched me. As he talked about when he was bullied a lot as a child. He's a short guy, bullied a lot as a kid. And one of the kids that bullied him the most, he was walking home one day and the mother of that kid pulled up beside him and offered to give him a ride. And he didn't want to take it because his biggest bully was in the car with him. He ended up getting in the car and he had them take him to the largest house he could find in their neighborhood to make the bully leave him alone. So that way he could feel like he was somebody. And he walked up to the door and the mom was such a gracious woman that she wouldn't leave until he went inside the house. And so he broke down crying because it wasn't his house. And he came back, said, "This isn't my home. Your son bullies me. I didn't want him to bully me anymore. I wanted him to think that I lived in a nice house." I can almost cry now because it's such an amazing story. But the mother really laid into her son and told her that, his own father was just like that little boy as a kid and he needed to change. And it turned into being his biggest champion the rest of his high school life, and he protected him. So it just goes to show you that, what we're doing here in solar is we're selling solar, right? But at the end of the day, we all are people. And if we can all be the best people we can be to our community and to each other, it's going to just make our solar business that much better. And especially in an industry where there's a lot of people that don't care about their customers. If we all, especially the people on this call, can really make sure that we are being people first to our customers, this is all going to be very great for all of us. So that's all I wanted to share.
Thank you, Sean. Appreciate the share. And let's go ahead and do one more. Bill Conley. Great.
Thank you, Jonathan. It was great to see you and everybody there. And I just want to say, I've been in the solar industry for about 10 years and I've done other network marketing things. And, I just want to impress upon anybody that is too good to go to a conference, knows too much or whatever, that you never know too much. I never know too much. I need to continue to build my own belief and stay in the boat. This is, the only two things I have control over are my attitudes and my actions. And if I'm not doing things constantly to improve those things, then I'm just going to fall by the wayside. You get to a level and get comfortable or not put the work in to get to the level you want to be at. And it was just such a great belief building event. And, people talked about Mario. He's a real, comes from the insurance industry, another networking business. But man, talk about powerful. It was just, and you can't know that unless you're there. You can even see a video and not be impressed as much as if you were there. you felt it and experienced it. And so that's why I go. And I'll pay money to go do things, because if I'm not doing it, nobody else is going to do it for me. And I encourage all of you, I'm always encouraging my team to get on these calls and to be, but I can't do it for them, and you can't do it for anybody else but yourself. I just would say, a real blessing to be there. Thanks, Jonathan.
Thank you, Bill. Can't agree more. It was lighter attended than I expected, and the value was tremendous. So I look forward to another event next year that's going to be even better with even more value and speakers. So thanks to everyone for sharing. Thank you, Jarrett McAllister, always for kicking this off. If you're watching the recording, like, share, comment, and this will be posted to Jarrett's YouTube and my YouTube. So I have a few quick announcements, and we're going to get to today's training. I promise. We're running a little bit behind. So I know a lot of you wanted to share, but feel free to share in the chat, and we'll be doing this again next week. Congrats to the Summer Sales Contest champions of 2023, giving away a $50,000 car. We got Alex in first, Ubaldo Torres on the team in New Jersey coming in at second place, and so many other names here. Raisa and Rob are amazing. Genesis is on my brother's team. Daryl is on Cynthia and our team here. David Savary, San Diego, badass, old school, Anthony DePirio, and a lot of other names. So hats off to you all. These are month-to-date numbers. So William is leading the way with 9 personal sales. Ubaldo with 7. Tyler. And then we have referrals and recruits. Zachary Bach, Miguel Hart, and Christopher, and Larry McKinney. Shout out to all you guys, and Ubaldo. Shout out Ubaldo. If you ever are successful in more than one dashboard, guys, you will make a lot of money and have a lot of impact. And then tier 3 mentors, Anthony DePiero holding it down. Cynthia, shout out, 5 deals closed this month as well. Janice Vaughn, Colby West, whole bunch of other people as well. All right, moving on. We are in the midst of Jim Bunch's Happy, Healthy, Wealthy every Wednesday at 9 a.m. If you're in that program, I'm sure you're loving it. Type it in the chat, share some wins from that. But that is a free event that Powur is paying for, 9-week program. It started June 21st. Friendly reminder, our next big event is September 7th through 9th in San Diego on Coronado Bay Resort. Book your hotel room because they're going quick. I don't know if there's any more single beds left, but you want to get in there and get your room. Go to powurconvention.com to go ahead and get a ticket. The ticket is not expensive. If you want to go to the gala and the talent show and see Ramsey sing and have dinner and awards, that's extra. But the ticket itself, guys, is a steal. So make sure to do that. And I'm going to be really passionate about this event for the next few weeks. This is in Southern California. We've branded this Solar Side Hustle. Profit from your solar referrals. You heard me mention it before. It's in person only. Diamond Bar Center, California, August 16th. Doors open at 9:30 a.m. And this is for the real estate, mortgage, insurance, tax industries, financial services, insurance industries to learn how to profit from solar referral. Everyone can build into this. Okay, 2-3 years ago when I saw events like this, I would start texting my realtors in SoCal. I'd go on EXP's website and find realtors. I would build and invite people to go to this in-person event. All right. So I highly encourage you, go to mysolarbusiness.com and only go to Eventbrite if you're going to attend or give this to your guests to attend. Future trainings. As always, we got Monday, JC Rangel. We have an office hour, project management review with Ashley. Lease PPA, enterprise, new onboarding every Thursday if you're new, and so much more. Go to powurcalendar.com. August 8th, guys, on Tuesday, this training, we're going to have Danny Pesci dropping some heat. August 8th, Tuesday, 10 a.m. Mark your calendar for Danny Pesci. And then again, August 16th, we're going to be in-person Diamond Bar real estate event, and Powur World is coming up as well. Friendly reminder, if you're new here, solarmasterguide.com has everything you could possibly want. Electrical information, financing information, steps to success, trainings, videos, NEM3, health, wealth, everything. So go to solarmasterguide.com for additional help. All right, so to get to today's training, it's funny because I was texting Paul Leone like, hey, have you hit $1 million with Powur yet? And I know Cynthia and Luis Perez and Chris Brunasso and Jordan Shaw, they're all like at 800 grand income with Powur. And they're all close to earning $1 million. And I know that Powur has really made a really big impact in Paul Leone's life. I met him back in 2015. He was the OG top leader trainer at Solar City in the front of the room, training everybody when I started in 2015. He'll tell you how long he's been in solar, I think over 11 years. And guys, he'll tell you, I texted him for months and months and months. And then when he joined, he had other options. So he was doing some other business even a few months after that. And then he came around to Powur, started selling, and his journey with Powur has been very impactful with a high amount of income while helping others and even supporting his family. So we decided to bring it back old school, Solar City days, Sunrun days, when we only had a lease PPA. He's going to drop some value, then I'm going to continue it up. So you're in for a treat today, Paul. Let me stop sharing my screen and let you share yours, and you can go ahead and take it away. Appreciate you.
You know what, bro? I did not realize that I was sharing my screen. So hold on a second.
I can share yours.
No. I can do it. Just give me a sec, man. I just gotta pull that up real quick. I did closed. So JB had asked me to share like a little bit of my past story. So actually I started with Solar City March of 2010. So just about 13 years ago, and then had been working with another small company for about 6 months before that, before I wound up with Solar City, which really ended up being a really cool blessing at the time. I worked there on and off for about 8 years. I'm in, at least when they had salespeople, I was in their top 10 people all time. We had maybe 4,500 people selling at our top over there. Then I worked at Sunrun for 2018 before I realized that they were kind of the devil. So I stopped because they just don't like customers over there, man. It was rough. And Cynthia will tell you that they don't really like pregnant moms either, because they were kind of rough on pregnant moms at that time too. Right, Cynthia? She there? Oh, maybe she's not paying attention. Anyways, so on and off, worked with a couple other small EPCs, and then JB kept after me to join up with Powur, which I didn't for a while, and then finally I did. And my first job that I sold, I beat Tesla, who at the time was like the lowest there was, and I was expecting to make about $1,600 on the job, which was pretty good. And somehow I made like $6,000 when it was all said and done. And I was like, holy hell, how did that happen? And from there, I thought, I was like, okay, let's do this. So it's been really good. You know, I mean, any solar company that you work with, there's going to be trouble. Like, it's never going to be perfect. But out of all the imperfections we have, Powur is still the best of the imperfect companies. And here we still have a better chance to make more money than everywhere, or at least anywhere that I've worked before. So I'm pretty pumped about with Powur. So what Jonathan and I wanted to talk about, when you do the numbers, and this is mostly focused on California, I'm sure bits and pieces pertain to other companies or other areas as well. But with the net metering 3 changes that have happened, the solar lease with Sonova has become a very, very, very good option. Part of it's because they fix the batteries for 25 years, where if you own a system somewhere, you're going to have to spend 15 to 30,000 on new batteries. And because interest rates are so high, I mean, I just priced one, a 5.99 interest rate has a 28% dealer fee. A year ago, that was a 1% loan or something. So it's gotten kind of crazy over that time. So for people that are more payment conscious, the solar lease is really good. And personally, I believe, maybe some different circumstances aside, but for the most part, the solar lease is what makes the most sense for people. And if we go back to when I had started at Solar City, that was all there was. If you bought a system, it was really expensive. There was no financing anywhere. That wasn't just the Solar City thing. That was a solar in general thing. And the warranty was like 10 years. So you knew after 10 years, you were going to be shelling out money to pay for stuff. It was only over the last 5 or 6 years that they made the warranties 25 years and then had solar insurance, stuff like that. So what we kind of wanted to do today was bring back a lot of the successful tools that we had used at that time to sell solar with solar leases, when that's what there was. I personally probably have maybe around 700 customers that have solar leases. And I'll tell you, some of those have had solar for 13 years. And what I love about a solar lease is it gets fixed. And even if a company goes out of business, so I worked with Sungevity about 6 years ago, who at the time was the #4 solar company in the country. I probably sold about 30 jobs there before they went bankrupt that were all solar leases. And even though Sungevity went bankrupt 6 years ago, those customers, because of how solar leasing works, still have warranties today. And they still have protection today because somebody buys those leases on the backside and there's ownership in place to take care of that stuff. So at that time, that's what there was. There was no financing, and that's what we did. And it's still been really, really good for a lot of people. So that was some of the stuff that we were gonna talk through today. So that being said, obviously, assuming you warm up your customer, you find out why you're already there, you've already talked with them, you find out that whatever pain points they have with their electricity bill. One of the things that we really focused on was the word service. People are buying electricity service now. The reason that people get scared by the word lease is that they think it's something they don't have now. They think about a car lease. They think about an equipment lease. They think that if you buy a car with a lease, you can only drive 60,000 miles over 5 years, and then you're going to have to pay some kind of residual at the end. So they equate the word lease to a negative financing option. What we really focused on was, instead of using the word lease, we would use the word solar service. You already have electricity service from your utility. So now we're just switching you to another electricity service, but this time provided with solar. And that really made it a simpler concept for people to figure out. So we would tell them, listen, this is something that the cool thing about what we're going to do here today is we're going to review something that you already pay for. We used to call it an anyways bill. You're paying for it anyways. So if you're going to pay for it anyways, why not pay less, or why not pay for something better if you're already paying for it? And the line that would really kind of at the very beginning of our consultation with people, we would ask them, if you had a choice and you're already paying for it anyways, would you want to pay for dirty, unstable utility service? Or would you rather pay for cleaner, consistent, protected solar energy service? And then you just stop and you wait for them to answer. And like 95% of the time, they say, well, we want to pay for cheaper service. It doesn't mean that they would always do it, but you said in your head right away, that this is a service, just like you're already paying for. And you're going to be kind of dumb if you don't say yes when it's all said and done. Does that make sense to people? I'm seeing like a couple thumbs up here and there. Cool. Thank you, Ramsey. Appreciate that, man. All right. All right, cool. So we would kind of lay that out. And then what we would focus on is what they have now. They already have energy service. So let's explain to you how that energy service works. So and I would ask a customer, so, hey, Mr. Brunasso, so do you understand how your electricity company gets the power from their plant to your house? And yeah, just like JB, most of them would say no. And you say, well, cool. Well, do you think it's important to understand how you get something if you're thinking about changing to something else? And most people would say, yeah. So you say, cool, let me walk you through it. So at first you have a power plant. They make power for you. It looks kind of like this one right here. So once it goes there, it goes through thousands of miles of transmission lines, where then it goes down to a substation. You ever been driving around and you see like a big gated area, fenced off area, you see a whole bunch of power poles and things like that there? Yeah, most people say yeah. And you're like, cool, well, that's the substation. Then it goes through more cables and more wires until it eventually goes through the cables and wires in your neighborhood. And then it finally gets to your house over there. So, Mr. Brunasso, did you realize that Edison's power grid is 65,000 square miles of power lines and stuff? Did you know that? Most people say no. Well, what happens is through the years, they have to pay billions and billions of dollars to not only upgrade this, but make repairs along that 65,000 miles. It's like hard to understand, right? And a really good example of what happens here, and again, this is specific to utility, but with Edison, where I do most of my business, people with their bill pay this new system generation charge. And I'll say, Mr. Brunasso, do you know what that is? And Mr. Brunasso normally says no. I'll say, well, have you ever gone where the 60 freeway and the 15 freeway meet up? And they'll say, yeah, that's like Norco area, Ontario. And I'll say, yeah, they're building 50,000 homes there. Well, there's no energy grid there. So they have to build the energy grid there. So that's what you're contributing to with that part of your bill. You're contributing them building out their grid in different areas. Well, once they build out all those homes, then those people get to send Edison $400 a month for power. But what happens is when they're building out that new part of the grid, they got to go all the way back through these parts of the grid and upgrade them to deal with all that new draw that they're going to have from the new power that they're making. Does that make sense? You know how you have to go back and repair old stuff, like on your car. If you rebuild part of your engine, well, now you got to go do transmission because it's not capable of keeping up with that. And so that's a pretty good analogy for most people. And then from there, we'll kind of go, well, that's expensive. That's why you've seen your cost increase so much. And then from there, I'll have some statistics that kind of walk them through what their bill's done. So in Edison, our rates have gone up about 70% in the last 3 years. San Diego Gas and Electric rates have quintupled. Was that 5? Like gone up 500% in the last 10 or 12 years. And PG&E, it's probably tripled over that time. A lot of that is because of the way that you buy your energy service now. And then I personally have this little thing that I'll go part of when you have to repair that grid, what are some different things that go into that? And I'll ask, so Mr. Customer, doesn't it seem like there might be a better way to buy power, Mr. Brunasso? Then normally they'll say yes, or they'll be skeptical and they'll be like, get on with it already, dude. I try to ask questions along the way to kind of break down the monotony a little bit. But then I'll go to a slide similar to this. I pulled this one from the Franklin website because I really like those batteries. And that's more or less what I'm pitching here in California now. Well, here's our energy service for you, Mr. Brunasso. The sun comes up, it hits your solar panels, power goes to the house. Whatever power is not used there goes to your batteries. And at nighttime, you draw from your batteries for the most part. And that's it. So now you got about 50 to 100 feet of travel versus 65,000 miles. Doesn't that sound like a better way to do it? And a lot of people will say, well, yeah, well, how much does it cost? And so that's kind of how we used to at Solar City and Sunrun really in a logical way break down the inefficiency of this versus the efficiency of this, and why this energy service is better than the service that you already get. And we show them then with the benefits of the solar lease or Synovus program. So we designed this to be a service like you get from the grid. Like for the most part, the grid works all right, right? Yeah. And if the power goes down, it may be down for a couple of days and it may suck, but ultimately they're going to come fix it for you at some point, right? And, you know, they'll say, yeah. I'll say, well, we've designed our service program to equal their program. The difference is maybe ours is a little bit cheaper. Ours will be locked in. Ours isn't hurting the environment. And now a really cool benefit is that you don't have downtime, because if the grid goes down, you still have these kick-ass Franklin batteries powering your house. So now you have a better service than the service that you already have. So if you're going to pay the same, why not pay the same for something better than what you have? And you've already agreed that the utility rates are going to go up, right? And we showed you that your solar cost is going to be the same. So long story short, that's kind of how we would pitch it. We would pitch it as a service that they're already buying, that's going to be more reliable, that's going to be consistently priced. Unlike those days, though, now we can throw on the feature of they have backup storage, because at that time, you know, that wasn't something that was included in it. But that's it. That's how we kind of position it to make them more comfortable with it and make them equate it more to a service they're already buying. And I didn't bring it up in the beginning when we're kind of going through these things. You already buy energy service, right, Mr. Brunasso? You buy water service, right? You buy phone service, right? With your phone, you have multiple choices of who you can use. Why, Mr. Brunasso, did you pick Edison when you moved into this house? And normally Mr. Brunasso would say, well, that's my only choice. Yeah. Well, you're right. They have a freaking monopoly and they can do whatever they want. So we're here to give you a different choice for something that you already do. So that's it.
Awesome, Paul. Taking me back to 2015 days.
2010 here, man. 2010, baby.
I made this real quickly right now. Let me see what your initial thought is when you see this. You would take the yellow notepad, everybody, and you would put, all right, Mr. Customer, you're paying 38 cents for energy today. With this rental agreement, we got you at 24 cents. And by the way, it's the better service energy provider for solar. Now you have a choice. Did you have a choice before? Now you have a choice. It's clean energy. It has batteries, blackout protection, storage, consistent, reliable energy, and it's going to have a very gradual increase as the years go on. Predictable, you know, you're on a fixed income. 38 cents. SCE, no battery, no clean energy, 6 to 14% rate hikes every year. As the time goes on, your savings increase. And this is just the better switch for the house to have better energy.
Yeah, our solar proposals used to have that graph on there back in the day, if you remember. Now, JB's a little different. I don't sell an escalator. Very, very rarely will I use an escalator. So One of the things he asked me to do, so I sold a job last week. It was honestly my first new solar job under the new program, to buy a system at a 599 rate. And it was like 70,000 when it was all said and done. The monthly payment was $330 for 25 years. And after 15, they're going to have to get a new battery, two new batteries. So that's 20. In today's market, that could be 25 grand. And there's only a handful of companies that do standalone batteries. So if you call Powur right now and say, hey, I need to replace my new batteries with 2 new batteries, we don't do that. And there's not a lot of companies that do that right now. Maybe in 12 or 15 years, they will be. So it was $330 a month, and they had to get new batteries. On the Sonova program, it was $305 a month fixed, and that replaces those 2 batteries over that 25-year period. They will need new batteries. You've all had batteries in your remote control that just stopped working one day. They were great the day before, then they stopped. I've had probably 100 battery installations over the years. Almost all of them at some point have failed, especially the Sunrun LG batteries and the old school Tesla Powerwall batteries. They will die. People will need to do it. And if you have solar with no batteries on this new program, it sucks. And so the customer really liked the fact that he was paying less and he didn't have to sock away 20 grand in his underwear drawer to pay for batteries 12 or 15 years from now. And Sonova will do that. And then the way that their lease is written, it's pretty clear that at the end of 25 years, if you don't ask them to take it, they're going to leave it for you and transfer ownership to you. So you're still paying into something that eventually there's a high probability that you're going to own outright without any more costs.
And that was no escalator. So you did a monthly lease storage, no escalator, cheaper than the loan, no debt to income being affected, 0 down. He doesn't have to worry about doing a tax credit. He's getting battery replacements.
And let's be real, man. The purchase price was 70,000. Like, some people would get nervous taking out a loan for $70,000. You know, that number can be scary, especially for someone that's not paying stuff. To Erica, no, honestly, that whole Sonova free battery promotion was bullshit. Like, they just raised up the price and they called it a free battery. The one that I did was full price for everything, and it was $305 a month. And that was with me making about $4,000 in margin.
What Paul meant to say, Erica, is that there's slightly less of a promotional offer that Sonova was running on the no escalator versus the escalator. So
yeah, sorry. Yes,
yeah, it was just a slight discount. It was somewhat promotional. Absolutely, I'll agree with you there. But yes, Erica, the 0% escalator does not get as much of the promotion or the slight discount from Sonova.
To clear one of the things on the DTI thing as well. So to date, Sonova has not put these on a credit report. And if you ask Sonova, they don't put it on a credit report. There's nothing in the lease that says they won't put it on the credit report, but they tell you that they don't. So therefore it won't hit your DTI. If you go bad on your payment, they can definitely put it on your credit report. And technically they can put it on your credit report if they just wanted to. But I think Sonova's been around for 11 years. And in 11 years, they haven't started doing that. And Tesla tried to do that. Tesla put a bunch of solar leases and PPAs on credit reports, and they got hit with the class action lawsuit and lost, and had to remove all those from credit reports, because in a lease, you don't disclose financing costs, you don't disclose truth in lending costs and stuff like that. So they said that they couldn't put it in on the credit report. So they removed all of those. That was about a year or two ago.
I have a few more topics to cover real quick, Paul, and I would appreciate all these nuggets you're dropping. I want to cover a few things real quick. And guys and gals, type any questions into the chat. We will do Q&A here in about 10 minutes. But I'd love to hit through a few updates that I did for this topic as well. And just so you know, I'm going to give you a teaser, guys. Do you all know when the next master class is? Type it in the chat. The next Wednesday master class, 9 to 1. There's going to be an announcement, most likely next month, master class, week from tomorrow. Thank you, Larry. And it may involve a PPA lease partner. I'm not going to say much more than that, but there's some interesting things in the works right now. So you want to be on that call masterclass a week from tomorrow, okay? So a few quick things here. Obviously, with leases, PPAs, there's 25 years of warranty, insurance, repairs, production guarantees, and like Paul said, battery replacements. They're zero down most of the time. You don't need to take out a loan or cash for leases or PPAs traditionally. They don't usually affect your debt to income. You can use your money, take out loans, use your cash for other investments or items, and just change your provider. Like Paul said, your energy service for your home. It really is helpful to show them the rate of energy you're going to give them with the lease PPA, escalator or no escalator, versus what they're paying with SCE, and explain all the benefits of battery, insurance, warranty, and repairs. So I wanted to show a few quick examples here, and hopefully it's big enough, but real quick, guys, screenshot this, watch the recording later. Here's a 6.8 kilowatt system, Q cells, Solar Edge Energy Hub. We got one battery. I would recommend 1 or 2 batteries here. We're not going to get into tons of details and technical knowledge today. The margin, if you can see it, is 10 grand. So this is a $7,000 commission. We're at 99% offset. They're paying $348 to Edison at 38 cents a kilowatt hour. And the cash price for this would be 40 grand minus 12 grand tax credit is 28 grand. Now let's look at a Sunnova lease storage. $182 a month. That's with a 3.9 annual escalator. No money down, savings off the bat. I'll get into what the leftover utility bill will be in just a minute. I don't think that this is quite accurate. $182 a month. They're paying $348 to the utility. Even if the Edison leftover bill is like $40, $50, guys, which option is a better energy service for the home? A badass Solar Edge battery, solar system, instant savings, no money out of pocket. We really have to shift our mindset. This is an amazing product with the best technology, the best battery, great equipment. And so that is a monthly Sunnova lease storage with the battery and a 3.9 annual escalator. There is another product called an upfront prepaid lease where the customer pays upfront for 25 years of lease storage. So instead of 40,000 cash minus 12 grand tax credit, they can just give Sunnova 32 grand. And they will get this solar system. Some people call it lease to own. I'm not going to call it that. 32 grand, 25 years of guaranteed insurance, repairs, warranty, battery replacement, production guarantee. That's pretty awesome. They don't have to worry about filing a tax credit. They just got to give Sunnova 32 grand to upfront prepay this lease for 25 years. If you need more information, work with tier 3 mentors like Paul, Jordan Shaw, Owen Carey, Jarrett McAllister, Chris Brunasso, Sean Domino, Cynthia Alvige. All of these guys are Sunnova lease storage experts. And then versus the cash price.
JB, when did you run that deal through? Can you go back to that again?
I literally did that this morning.
Their pricing changed. So that's like about 80% less, right? So their pricing must have changed on that full prepaid. The other day, like if it was 40,000, it would have been like 28,000. So they must have changed something on there, but
Yeah.
that's still pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it's usually not more than 30%. It's usually less than 30% in my experience. So
It was, I asked Jay and he said the pricing was accurate. So I don't, maybe they had a
yeah.
hiccup or something. That's good to know.
One more example, and then I have one slide for y'all. I did a 10 kilowatt system, REC panels, energy hub inverter with two Franklin batteries, 100% offset, $7,000 commission, lean on the commission. This customer's paying $500 a month to Edison. We can do a monthly lease storage with an escalator for $377. 2 Franklin batteries, REC equipment, energy hub inverter, top of the line, 10 kilowatt system, 2 batteries, $377 a month with a 3.9 escalator. They're paying $507 to the utility. So I just, want to illustrate that versus the cash price here. The cash price of $56,000 is also a pretty good deal. If they have the cash, go get the tax credit, $39,000 cash if they have cash, versus the utility with a 5% annual increase. Look at how much they're paying the utility at $507 a month with a 5% increase, which is generous to the utility. $6,000, $63,000, $67,000, $7,000, $70,000. In year 5, guys, they'd have given Edison $33,000. In what year does it catch up to this cash price? Year 6. It's ridiculous. 2 Franklin batteries, cash price, or monthly Sonova lease. It's insane value with blackout protection. All of these have blackout protection also. And so these are just 2 examples of a 6 kilowatt and 10 kilowatt that are amazing. And this was a really cool slide. Paul, you probably appreciate this. I think Franklin did this. SoCal Edison, 8 kilowatt PV system, 108% offset. NEM 3.0, 2 batteries. We are getting rid of 87% of the bill. What does that mean? They may still have to give Edison 13% of their Edison bill. Now, $500, 13% is $60. Okay. So one thing I love about Paul, his ethics, integrity, and proposition to the customer is always conservative or worst case. So the fact that we can eliminate your Edison bill, we should never say that. That's actually against the CPUC guidelines. There will be some Edison bill. And I really like this 8 kilowatt, 100% offset, 2 batteries, getting rid of about 87% of their utility bill. So that was a really cool slide. And we all know the rates with Edison and SDG&E are insane, and PG&E is crazy. I mean, look at the peak rates here. 52 cents, 43 cents, 4 to 9 p.m. in October. Look at the summertime, 59, 50 cents, 4 to 9. So if you have a Franklin battery and you're avoiding 48 cents of energy that you would have thrown back to the grid or not used or thrown away, and 13.6 you're able to store in one battery, that's $6 a day, $2,300 a year, or over 28,000 in a 12-year period. So that's just one illustration that they put for the Franklin battery.
So JB,
yes, sir.
when you get a chance, man, rerun that prepaid lease thing, dude. I just reran one on my side. The price is 45,000 and the prepaid amount was 28,000. So I don't know, maybe it's a different market or something like that. But what I was finding is that it's coming in lower than what the cash price would be with the tax credit when you do it there. So maybe not right now because your time, but just I would always check out that prepay if someone's got the cash. It's better than buying it.
Yeah, let's double check that with Jay. Prepaid lease storage is an amazing product. Cash is also good. Monthly lease is amazing as well. Our loans with the interest rates and dealer fees, they're just a little bit higher right now. So that's okay. And if we're able to present these options to our customers in California, there's just such an extreme value proposition right now. So I know we're in the last few minutes here. I want to check the chat for questions. I know a few people asked what happens at the end of the 25-year lease, so I can answer that. And we will do a more in-depth Sunnova training on another time. But let me go ahead and answer what happens at the end of 25 years. There's 4 options at the end of a lease after 25 years. And you always say, Mr. Customer, most people move out in 7 to 9 years. So you probably won't be here, but just so you know, option 1 is you can renew and extend the existing agreement another 5 or 10 years. Option 2 is you could purchase the system for the fair market value, third-party appraiser, whatever price that is. Option 3 is you can have the solar system removed and fix the roof and taken away. Likely that won't even make economical sense
At all, because they'll have to fix your roof too. I mean, it will make 0 sense.
And the last option is upgrade to whatever is the newest technology at that time in 25 years. So there's 4 general answers that happen at the end of a 25-year lease agreement.
Well, let me throw in there as well, specifically with the Sunnova lease. So with the Sunnova lease, buying it at the end of 25 years is not an option. They don't have that in their lease. And they specify in their lease that they do have it in their PPA, but not in the lease. They specify that at the end of 25 years, if you don't ask them to remove it and they don't come remove it, they will transfer it to you at no cost and consider you to be the owner of the system. That's the other option that they clearly spell out in their contract for people. So that makes people feel warm and fuzzy sometimes.
Yeah, I've heard that a few times now. And I think that to be true probably as well. A lot of people are asking about how to do a 0 escalator, how to set the commission. Guys, you really need to know how to use the Sunnova backend portal at this time. Like I said, there might be a new way that's being announced on next Wednesday's call, how to request proposals. There might even be new lease PPA companies being talked about. So there's more to come. But in the meantime, you need to work with a tier 3 or a pro that knows how to use the Sunnova backend, knows how to price it out cash and put it over to Sunnova. It's very similar to the existing cash and commissions that we can make right now. Let's see what other questions we have in the chat. And Paul, Leone, why don't you put your email, cell phone number in the chat here if people want to reach out to you. I did share your slides. I hope that's okay for the group as well. Let me put it in here one more time. If you want to grab some of his slides. All right, what other questions do we have? There is no lien per se on leases, whether it's monthly lease or prepaid upfront lease. It is what's called a UCC1 fixture filing. And that can easily be lifted or removed in case of a sale or refinance and things like that. UCC1 fixture filing.
It's the exact same thing they use on solar loans. Any solar loan company also puts on a fixture filing. It's the exact same thing.
And really quick, while you're going through the chat, I just wanted to clarify something, because obviously if you do a prepaid lease and it's less than the cash and they don't have to deal with the tax credit, why wouldn't somebody do that?
Let's double check that, but yes.
Okay, let's say it's the same, but you're getting a 25-year battery warranty out at service, all that great stuff. Do they own the system at the end of a prepaid lease, or is it still that buyout option that they need to do?
It's the same verbiage in the contract. So there's no buyout option. that does that on a lease. That's not there, but it says you can renew it, you can remove it, or they can leave it for you for free and transfer ownership to you if you don't ask them to take it.
Okay, and then I guess the other disadvantage to it is it wouldn't technically add equity to your home though, because you don't own it. So when come time to sell it, even though it's a prepaid lease, you couldn't add that equity to the home because you don't own it, correct?
Correct. And then where I go with that with people, because honestly, I've seen it and I've seen appraisals. If you buy a system and you pay cash outright, there's a chance it won't add value on there as well. And I've seen appraisals with owned free and clear systems that haven't added value. It's all about the appraiser. It's all about the market. But yeah, technically, you're absolutely right. There's no PPA battery option at this time, whoever asked that.
Yeah. I don't know if Jordan or Cynthia want to share anything else on this topic, or Jarrett. We'll go ahead and end this training in just a minute here and then move to Q&A, open office hours.
Cynthia says it won't let her unmute.
Try now.
Hey guys.
Oh, wait. Hey.
On the topic of lease PPA, by the way, Paul is the GOAT. We used to idolize Paul at Solar City. He was like the godfather of solar. And yes, they weren't very nice to pregnant people.
They weren't, right?
Oh, I don't know if you guys have ever heard like my story when I talk about like being pregnant and working in solar, and I was like kind of mistreated. Paul saw it firsthand. He was the only person. Anyways, that's neither here or there. But when it comes to just on the subject of lease versus PPA, lease, right? Lease versus ownership. Is that what you wanted me to speak on? Say something about?
Yeah, sure. Any feedback? I know you've been at Solar City, Sunrun, Lease PPA, changing the mindset right now with NEM3 and batteries. That's the game right now.
So I want to say about this in particular is I've been hearing a lot of people saying like, oh, lease is the way. I'm not seeing that on my end, even though the numbers look really, really good. I think that we still have to really come from the perspective of what it's always been, which is presenting the options to the homeowners, showing them the difference between, right, the pros and cons of both and letting them really decide. And then of course, like recommending based on what their specific position is. But personally, I'm seeing a lot of people are still really wanting to own, and they're okay with the numbers, even though it is more expensive. And then I do have more people interested in the lease than before, but I'm still getting the majority that want to buy. So just being really like open to working with your customer and having a good discovery process and not really trying to like force them one way or another, if that makes sense. So that's just what I've been seeing lately. The numbers, you guys, what we didn't expect, well, we do expect the utility rates to go up high, but we didn't expect them to go up as high as they're going up right now. Even when we attach batteries, even with these high dealer fees, the numbers are still looking really good for monthly savings. So that's all I have to say.
Yeah, and isn't it weird that us being in solar now, when they go, yeah, Edison's going to increase the rates about 8% next year, you're like, yes, you're all excited that our electricity rates are going up.
Cynthia, have you not received pushback on having to spend $20,000 on new batteries in 12 or 15 years or more?
You know what? I'm not getting as much pushback as I thought I was going to get. The only difference is I am a fan of the high interest loan, right? But I'm seeing more customers are more interested now that the numbers are looking larger. Some of them are interested in the lowest possible payment. So you're going to lean towards the low interest loans, or cash. A lot of my customers lately have been cash. So most of those transactions I've had under NEM 3.0, I'd say 80% were cash, 20% were finance. And of the 20%, they were low interest loans. So very high loan amounts, but low monthly payment. And when you factor in the tax credit, it is still lower than their current payment. So they are seeing an immediate savings with a low interest loan. And even though it hurts us to give them such an insane dealer fee, it's making sense to these customers. So I'm really trying to show them all, right? Just show them like, hey, depending on what your goal is. But
I've had pushback on 15 years down the road, you still have financing and you're going to have to spend $20,000 to $30,000 on batteries. Like,
I
I'm
guess the
very,
counter argument
maybe-
to that though, Paul, would be, and we don't know this, but battery technology, I'm not gonna say it's new, but it's newer than solar panels. I always give the analogy of like big screen TVs. When big screen TVs came out, they were big, they were heavy, and they were very expensive. Now you can go down to Walmart and get a 65-inch 4K smart TV for like $400. Solar panels are kind of like those Walmart, the technology's gotten really good. The price point has come down. With batteries, we're not quite there yet. I imagine 10, 15 years down the road, batteries aren't going to be 8, 10, 12 grand. You're going to have some $2,000, $3,000 options. The market will be, it'll evolve and the price will come down. Now that's speculation. No one knows that for sure. But I do think pricing of batteries, I mean, we're already starting to see it, right? With the Franklin, it went up in kilowatt hour production. Technology got better, and it was less than what an Enphase or a Solar Edge battery was. So we're heading there, but you could either make either argument.
well, I have a different perspective because I've been doing it so long and I've seen the opposite happen. I've seen the first stage Powerwall that was 5 kilowatts and $4,500. That's now 13, like 11 years later, it's still 15 grand at 13 kilowatts. So in 13 years, I haven't seen it change, but that's just because I saw those first stage batteries. So you could be right, but with the exception of recently where we trimmed our cost on those batteries, I haven't seen that happen at all. It's been the opposite, but that's fair.
Up for debate.
I hate the unknown. I hate that someone would have to shell out that money later. And I don't ever want to say, hey, it might be $4 grand. I can't do that. But I get where you're coming from.
I think Paul brings up a really good point, you guys, and this is one of those things like under NEM 3.0, we have to set those right expectations to protect the industry, right? Like the batteries aren't going to be replaced within 25 years if they're on an ownership system. And so those are the kinds of expectations we should be setting, we should be aware of. So I think it's good that Paul's bringing up that point, because that is one thing, if we're not doing it already. I know personally for myself, I have no shame in saying like, I need to make that more of a crystal clear point for my customers so that they know like, hey, your battery is probably not going to last the entire 20 years. And this might be a scenario because it is only warranted for 10 years. So I think that's a responsible way to think. And I trust Paul's experience because again, he's a GOAT. So listen up.
And to Paul's point, because of NEM 3.0, we're utilizing these batteries. We're cycling them from full. We're depleting them. You know what I mean? We're cycling them pretty much every single night. Where with typically, if you just had battery for backup, you're not cycling them. So it is going to shorten the lifespan of these batteries, and that you are going to be coming against the battery going down below the threshold sooner with NEM 3 than otherwise.
Solar Edge though passed unlimited cycles. At least I'm not sure if anyone else, but Solar Edge is unlimited cycles now.
10-year
Yeah,
warranty.
that's the warranty, and that's fine. But in reality, even though the warranty covers unlimited cycles, it will still go down at some point it will need to be replaced.
Yeah, so that's the expectation we for sure should be setting. One other thing that I want to mention, since we're on the conversation of NEM 3.0, I'm not hearing enough people talk about the monthly true-up bill. And it's super important that we're all looking at the consumption graph, because if any of those bars, it's very important that you're reflecting the homeowner's kilowatt hour usage monthly, because if any of the production bars are less than what the system is producing, then they need to know that they're going to pay a true-up bill that month. And I don't think that that's being talked about enough.
Good
So
point.
throw that out there.
Yeah, Cynthia, I think that's a really good point. And I think we were talking about it in our chat. I have a lot of heat pump clients where their major pain is in the winter. So my approach has been more like an 85, 90% offset, because if I'm going to try to increase their system by 10, 15 more panels, they're still going to have that pain in the winter. So we're going to be producing a bunch of energy in the summer when now they have a huge gap between production and consumption. So one thing, I mean, we can bring it up later though, is, you know, focusing on that winter and saying, hey, let's cover 8%, 8 of your months. You'll have a very minimal bill, but expect the winter to have these bills. So
Yeah.
what I do is create an analysis. Hey, if we spend all this money, your bill is going to be this, or we could go with this approach, and we have a good equilibrium point. So that's maybe more advanced, but I think that's a really important thing
No,
to keep in
yeah,
mind.
it's super important. There's two ways to approach it. So we can do what you're doing, which is doing that, which when you have a very large gap, like if you can picture a consumption graph and you have a very large gap, like Owen is describing, where the summers are whatever, but in the winters, they're 4 times the amount than what they're using in the summer, then it probably makes more sense to cover like a 80% offset system where it's going to cover them 8 months of the year, but those 3 months that they're running those heat pumps, that, yeah, they just pay for those separately. But with most homeowners, if you look at a graph where summer is twice that of winter time, it depends on the graph, right? It depends on like their specific
This is
usage.
a fairly advanced topic. Let's continue this on California market
Yeah,
development, guys. Be great.
Jonathan,
No, Jordan wanted to say one more thing, and then we're going to go ahead and end this recording and move to office Q&A. So Jordan, go for it, sir.
I mean, I just want to agree with the points with Paul, Cynthia. Just everybody has the good value perspective of this because it's better technology is new. And I'm hesitant to put my customer with a loan that's longer than 15 years. I'm finding that some clients are like fine with a slightly higher payment to own it faster because they see the value. And something that I've been doing is just leading with cash, showing them what the ROI is with the cash, and then we start talking financing, where we start actually talking about the numbers. Because one of the things I want to say is people, you don't know where they're at right now. People have been socking away money since 2020. They might have right equity in their home. They might be able to find their own financing at the same time. Some of our finance products might work. Our job should be to say, hey, this actually still will work for you. So what's your priority? Is it a lower payment? Is it just owning it fast? And you'll be surprised the number of people that will say, oh yeah, I've got that cash, or whatever it might be. Yeah, that's a little bit a larger headache with the incremental payments and us getting paid and stuff. But if it's the right move for the customer, don't put that aside for sure. And really, NEM3 only affects 2 people right now. Those that looked at solar a year ago or 2 and didn't jump on it because they'll recognize the higher rate or like the higher costs, and our mentality. That's it. Like it's not a problem if you think it's not a problem, right? So something to think about. It's like no matter where we go with this is just you're still saving the customer hundreds of thousands of dollars in some situations. Yeah, it's a little trickier in the summer months, as we just talked about, and having that graph, but and just making sure that you tell them, hey, in the summer months you might have a bill unless I do this, right? And Cynthia and I just had this conversation a week and a half ago about like what do you show them, and I love that analogy. But those are, I mean, to me that's a key takeaway is people that looked at this a year ago are the ones that'll feel the pain. Nobody else knows it's a problem, and unless you make it the problem.
Can't agree more. Ask the right discovery questions. We have an arsenal of tools to show. All of them are amazing value, especially in California with NEM3. So I just want to give a big shout out to Paul Leone again, Tier 3 mentor, and of course the other leaders as well in here. But Paul, for just giving us some knowledge and nuggets today. Again, this recording will be shared on my YouTube channel and Jarrett McAllister's YouTube channel. So I know some of you have to hop off, but we're going to go ahead and move to an open Q&A office hour for the next 15, 20 minutes. And thanks so much, everyone. Have a good day.